See the
half a
cars
lap from the green flag.
weaving back and forth, trying to get all the debris cleaned off the tires, so we go down in turn one and make that right-hand corner. It's going to stick.
While we have the time, let's get some final reports from pit road. Here's Marty Snyder.
Well, Alan, there's perhaps no driver in the field under more pressure today than Robbie Gordon. This will be his last ride in the 31 car. Mike Skinner, the regular driver, will be back at Michigan. Now, Robbie is a road course expert. He knows this is perhaps his best chance to win a Winston Cup race, and he does not have a full-time ride. But if he wins today, he knows that he will take a big step towards achieving that goal. To Matt Yoakum.
Marty, Tony Stewart is the most recent road course winner on the Winston Cup Tour. But I spoke with Tony as he was climbing into his race car. He was not very optimistic about today. He said he feels like he has a 6th or 7th or 8th place car, but not a car that can compete with the 88, 28, or 24. They have made a number of changes on this race car this morning, but much like Sonoma, they started the race not the best race car, but they were the best race car at the finish today.
Hey, Matt, the team car to Sterling Marlin's number 40 is the 01 driven by Scott Pruitt. That car tested up here and had a great test, so they applied that knowledge to the 40 car. It didn't work. They had a bad qualifying run, and they had to change everything on the car to make Sterling comfortable. He believes he is now, and after a season-best second-place finish last week at Indy, they're pumped to try to stay in this points race. They're currently 4th. Alan?
All right, Dave, thanks. Field coming down for the start now. 90 laps make up the distance today, 220.5 miles. That 90 laps a crucial number because it makes an even 2-stop race on pit strategy. Lap 30, lap 60, and the pit strategy here today will be key in determining who wins. We'll talk more about it as we get closer to the first pit stop. But we're set to go at Watkins Glen as the pace truck heads for turn 11, the final corner on the course. Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd opposite the normal positions on a racetrack because you're running the opposite of normal direction since you're on a road course. It is Jarrett to driver's right, Rudd to driver's left, and they're coming down for the green flag at Watkins Glen.
Mike Skinner's picked up 1 spot on the start.
That's Robbie Gordon, you big dummy.
Mike Skinner, Robbie Gordon, that's right.
It'll be back to Mike next week in Michigan.
Then I'll be correct.
There you
just
go.
a week early.
Gordon in 3rd, Jerry Nadeau in 4th, Rusty Wallace 5th. The yellow-nosed car is Ron Fellows in 6th. Then you've got Todd Bodine, John Andretti, and Scott Pruitt. But it's Jarrett who got the lead from Gordon heading into the first corner.
Johnny Benson trying to pick up some spots, and does, on Michael Walter.
Here's John Andretti ducking inside of Todd Bodine. That's for 7th. Couldn't get it.
Stewart did outbreak Kevin, though, going down to turn 1 that time.
Kevin Harvick in the 29 car.
So that puts Stewart to 10th and Harvick back to 11th. And there's Jeff Gordon in 12th. Oh, cloud of dust there.
Tony Stewart off the racetrack.
Was it Stewart?
Yes.
Thought it might have been Harvick. Never question the driver's eye. I'm going to learn that lesson one of these weeks.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was Tony Stewart. Put it that way.
Gordon with a peek at turn 10.
That was not a serious attempt to pass, but this is when he drives down to the inside and takes that spot away from Kevin Harvick.
Bounced off the curb, got nipped by Harvick. Gordon got the right side wheels on the curve on the inside of that corner. It got him sideways when Harvick was right on top of him. Here's lap 3. Scott Pruitt's backing up. He was 9th. He's all the way back to 15th in 1 lap.
As Mark Martin looks back at Ward Burton. Kyle Petty on the inside. Pruitt there in the 0-1 car.
I thought I saw a little puff of smoke when he went to make a shift there, Benny, and we'll see if we can get a follow-up report from his kid if they've lost a cylinder or something, but he sure lost a lot of positions all at once.
I agree with you. I saw that same puff from the 0-1.
Bobby Labonte running in 18th. Matt, how about it?
Alan, I just spoke with Andy Graves, the team manager for Chip Ganassi Racing. He said the engine died, so Scott swapped to the backup ignition box. The engine refired, and that's all they've talked about on the radio since.
Okay, so he lost all 8 cylinders at once.
Yes.
And then got them all back.
These cars do have a backup system, so they can switch to another ignition box, coil.
What you call a moment, though, when it happens in front of 30 cars.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of those road racing terms.
Yeah.
A moment. Pruitt on the Winston Cup Tour last year, driving for Cal Wells and the PPI team. Not renewed for that ride for the start of this year. This is his first race on the Winston Cup Tour in 2001.
That gravel trap that you see to your very right of the screen, that's off turn 1, and that gravel trap usually gets a lot of customers during a race.
Up front, Dale Jarrett extending his advantage on Ricky Rudd. That's a 1.3 second gap. You see Robbie Gordon in the 31 car in 3rd. There's Nadeau, Rusty Wallace, Ron Fellows back through 6th position.
Todd Bodine, the 66 car, hanging in there pretty good.
On board Ron Fellows. What's that on the windshield of the camera lens?
That's some water. I don't know if it's raining or if that's coming out of Rusty Wallace's car. It's not rain, so some moisture coming from someplace, either Fellows' car, Rusty's car.
We'll check in Rusty's pit and see if there's any kind of a heating problem or something reported on his car that might be putting water out the overflow, but certainly seeing something hit the lens there on the camera on the 87 car.
And sometimes you would get fuel, but normally after a lap or 2, the fuel from the overflow will come out of the car in front of you and get on the windshield, but it should be gone after about a lap or 2.
Aerial views here at Watkins Glen, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of 1. Just underway at Watkins Glen, Dale Jarrett is your leader. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Every day is a winding road. I get a little bit closer to feeling fine.
Dale Jarrett is the leader at Watkins Glen. 7 laps into 90 that make up today's race. Welcome back. Log on to NBCSports.com for the latest NASCAR news and results. Plus, check out Benny Parsons' special interactive on the drivers who could emerge as NASCAR's next superstar. NBCSports.com. Rusty Wallace has lost a couple of positions as a challenge is on for 2nd spot.
And Robbie Gordon takes that away from Ricky Rudd. Robbie Gordon, the 31 car. But Robbie Gordon is driving for his career today.
This is his last ride behind the wheel of this car for Richard Childress Racing. He goes back to the sidelines next week when Mike Skinner, its regular driver, returns at Michigan. Robbie's auditioning. Now let's go back and watch Rusty Wallace try and defend a spot on John Andretti.
It looks to me, I don't know, it looks to me Rusty's having a brake problem because he's not getting into the corners like he wants to. Losing a lot of spots getting into the corners.
Rusty was 5th a minute ago. He lost 5th to Ron Fellows, 6th to Todd Bodine, and now 7th to John Andretti and 8th to Jeff Gordon. Marty, what's going on with Rusty Wallace?
Well, and on the radio, Rusty has said nothing. I've asked Robin Pemberton twice now, is there anything wrong with the car? Both times he has said nothing. Lap times are not falling off. They're just losing spots on the racetrack. Maybe better drivers behind them, better cars right now, but the lap times really aren't falling off that much for Rusty Wallace.
And also, Marty reported to us earlier that Rusty's car was not the one that was leaking either. That was our initial inquiry as to whether what was popping up on Ron Fellows' camera lens was coming from the 2 car.
This is on board with Rusty Wallace on the roof of his car. We certainly see no moisture on this camera lens. Turn 1 is where Rusty seems to be really struggling. To see if Tony Stewart's able to take advantage.
Rusty's back in 9th now. Here comes Stewart.
See what I mean? I mean, Rusty is a hard person to pass on a road course, especially under braking. And the 3 or 4 guys in front of him made it look easy.
Rusty Wallace, one of the kings of NASCAR Winston Cup road course racing. He's got 6 victories on the left and right hand circuits.
And you can see that Tony Stewart, Rusty Wallace, over 12 seconds behind the leader, Dale Jarrett.
That's Kevin Harvick next behind Rusty, trying to close in.
Tony Stewart able to maintain pretty well the difference between himself and the 88 car.
So Wally, let's assume you're Rusty Wallace at this point, and here's Jeff Gordon. Back to that in a minute. On John Andretti for 7th. And by. Gordon started 13th. He's up to 7th. Todd Bodine bidding inside of Ron Fellows.
Wow. That was really a gutsy move by Todd Bodine.
That's not really the place you want to do that. Here's the place you want to do it. If you're going to outbrake a guy, this is one of the best spots. And that was a classic outbraking maneuver on a road course. That was picture perfect.
Nice job, Todd. Keep it up. You can get him there all day.
Bodine to 5th, Fellows back to 6th. Now he's got Gordon closing in on his bumper. Back to the thing about Rusty just for a second, just to finish that conversation. If you're Rusty and you're behind the wheel of that car, you're not reporting anything to your crew right now. You think you've got brake problems. What are you doing? You're losing ground early, and you can't afford to.
Well, it depends what kind of brake problems you have. If you have a brake bias problem where you think you may have too much front brake or rear brake, he's in there adjusting that right now, trying to get the balance right so he can go down there and brake. And because if you got too much front brake, it's not going to want to turn or stop. If you got too much rear brake, it's want to get sideways getting into the corner. Now, if he's got a pedal problem, if the pedal is going down and he's got a pump, that's big. That's a bad deal, because that probably means the brakes are getting hot, and there's no way to really fix that.
And he just lost 10th spot to Kevin Harvick. And while we were riding on board with him, it sure seemed like he was out of the gas early for that corner. Just underway at Watkins Glen, Dale Jarrett is the leader. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.